I was going to ask about the counterintuitive nature of doubling.
Oh.
All right, All right, we're back. We had a little break to download it to the SD cards, got something to eat. These guys are in the middle of the game, and last thing we were talking about, I believe, is the doubling cube and how there's a cube now, is it in the middle? So nobody owns the cube?
It's in the middle, nobody owns it, but we did happen to roll 2 sets of doubles to start the game. So we agreed if that happened, we would double the stakes.
Okay.
And I have little hiccups here.
So the cube is at 2, but nobody owns it. This is kind of interesting.
Right.
All right. Now, when you get doubled, the person who's doubling feels like they're ahead in the game, so they have a better than 50% chance of winning. How far ahead do you have to be before you feel like a double, like being able to offer one? Do you feel like you're 50, 60, 70% chance of winning?
Depends on how much you want to gamble.
All right, good answer. But now maybe both people are good at calculating, it's a 60% chance of winning. Why would somebody take a cube if they've only got a 40% chance of winning? Either they miscalculate or...
Well, all right. Here's an example.
All right.
Let's say you play 4 games. All right. And this hand is Mark doubles me. In this hand, every one of those 4 games, I say no thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At the end of the 4 games, I'm going to be down 4 points.
Right.
So now, let's say in this hand, he doubles me, and every time I take, I accept.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, the first game, I lose. So now I lose 2 points because it's doubled. Right?
Right.
The next game, I win.
Okay.
So now I'm back to a net 0.
Okay.
So we've played 2 games already, and now I play the game number 3 and I lose, and I play game number 4 and I lose.
All right.
So I've only run 1 out of those 4 games, but the net result is the same.
So what you're saying is if you lose 1 and 4, you've lost...
No, if you win 1 and 4,
You win 1 and 4 at double the stakes.
at twice the stakes, it's the same as if you gave up
all
every
4
time.
cubes. All right.
So that's why the drop take point is 1 out of 4 or 25%.
So if you feel you have at least a 25% chance of winning, you would take a cube. 25% or more, you'll take a cube just because it's worth it. And in a way, you're kind of minimizing your losses.
Yeah, in the long run, if you play that same position a million times,
Mm-hmm.
you will lose less by taking the double if it's over 25%.
At 25% and above.
And if it's less than 25%, if you take, you'll lose more in the long run. And if it's exactly 25%, it doesn't matter what you do.
Okay. So 25% is the drop take point.
Yep.
And so you have to calculate sometimes, what the percentages of you are winning a game.
Yep.
So what do you look at when you're kind of calculating, like right now, what do you see in this game? Where do you feel you're
I
at?
see that I just bounced on a 2-point board. I see that part.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Well, Ray has escaped one of his checkers. I only have 1 back also, but he's a little more developed. He has a point in his inner board,
Okay.
and he's preparing to make another point. He's ahead in the race. This is kind of a racing.
Are you
game.
guys clashing or racing? I see kind of a racing game going on
Well,
here.
we're still, because he's on the bar, we still have contact.
All right.
So it's not a straight race yet. But in terms of, if we counted up how much dice rolls we both have to get, it's about the same.
Mm-hmm.
So from a racing perspective, we're about equal right now. But there's a lot other stuff that has to happen before it becomes a straight race.
And for instance, I could roll here. I could roll 3-6. I could roll 5-4, and I could roll double 5s to hit. That's 5 numbers
Out of 36.
out
right?
of 36.
So that's less, like 13% or something. It's less. 6 out of 36 is 16, 17%, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little less than that.
Yeah, it's about 13%.
Yeah. So
So you'd be very lucky if that would happen.
13%.
but it's going
though,
to
that
happen right
happens.
here. Watch this.
Oh, interesting roll now. What happened there? A 6-1. I've heard you guys sometimes have signature rolls. Like somebody says, I can roll 6 1s when I need them.
Well, that's Bob Holion's signature roll.
Signature.
but-
All right.
Yeah, that's just talk.
Well,
Really?
over time, in big, very important situations, people have tended to come up with a role where, oh my God, I'm going to win this game unless my opponent rolls fill in the blank.
Okay.
And with this guy named Bob Holion, his signature roll was 6-1. And he would get to the point where he would need a 6-1 to win. And he'd like make the move as if he'd rolled it. And his opponent would go, well, don't you have to roll it first? He goes, you're really going to make me roll it. Clunk.
And it comes out of the
And
cup.
it comes out.
Bam.
And so this guy over here has a signature roll.
Yeah?
And it's 6-4.
Okay.
So there are times when I'm playing in a game and I'll make the 4-point just so that when he's on the bar, the 4 and the 6 become bad rolls for him.
All right.
And that's just something that we've sort of incorporated into our game.
The karmic wheel is turning, and you use it.
Yep.
So you see the strategy of that. Interesting. All right. There's. I'll just bring this up. There's a guy called Nitschke. Is he have a signature roller? What's his deal? It reminds me of the name sounds familiar to Nietzsche, is why I'm curious. But Keith was telling me he's kind of a psychological player too. He'll call his roll, or he'll be a bit.
Yeah. What
is
is his first name?
Is it Ray?
Ray is his uncle.
Okay.
Ray Nitschke from the Packers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's where I
Okay, let's go.
took a 4-cube. All
Yep.
right.
So Nitschke's was famous, I guess, for early on, years ago. Let's talk a little bit about the modern day history of backgammon.
Okay.
So backgammon has been played for thousands of years in various shapes and forms. It virtually disappeared through the Middle Ages and reappeared in like the 1920s. And I think it was some mathematics, somebody was trying to prove some sort of mathematical theorem and had this game that was a good representation of whatever it was they were trying to prove. And
Okay.
and then there was a guy who introduced the doubling cube to the game. And because that doubling cube was introduced to it at that time in the 20th century, it became very popular then as a gambling game, as in America.
So backgammon had been around until it got popular again when somebody was trying to work out a mathematical theory and kind of used backgammon. Was it probabilities and that
It
kind
had
of
to do
thing?
with probabilities and proving some sort of theorems, and so the community that started playing it were sort of theoreticians, Oswald Jacobi, Crawford. These are names that are of people that were very big in mathematics.
I've heard of Jacobi.
And academia.
They're big into
poker players, bridge, games of where there's chance involved and skill.
All right, there's a Jacobi that's a mathematician now. There's a Jacobi rule in backgammon. Is that the same guy?
Yeah.
What is the Jacobi rule? Is it a rule or is it a?
It's the rule that says in a money game that unless you double, you can't win a gammon or backgammon.
There
All
can't be
right.
additional benefits at the end of the game.
I don't think we've even talked about what a gammon and a backgammon is, have we?
No, not yet. But to continue with the history part of
Okay,
this,
yeah.
so, and which leads back to Nitschke. So, when it kind of stayed the same on kind of fringes until about the 70s, and then it got kind of popular at universities and average people started playing it. It got maybe some restaurants would have it in the bar, and they go, "What's that? Oh, that's backgammon table." And they started playing it, and the first sort of analysis started happening of strategies.
Did you say this was the 70s?
Yeah, in the 70s.
I think I saw that. Yeah, the American Backgammon Tour started in '69 or.
Yeah, and this is, but it was
Vegas.
very, very few people playing in some places. And about that time, this guy Nitschke did some analysis, and he would do an opening move where he would make his 2-point with a 6 and a 4, which is a very unusual, at the time,
way to
was
play that
considered a
opening.
very unusual way to play that role. And so he got sort of known at
Okay.
that point